I would love to talk to you about the Yacht Assessment tool we launched yesterday at the SuperYacht forum. Yeah, I don't know if some of you were there yesterday, but this is the very short, of course, because it's a different environment, it's a different format. But I'm more than happy to talk to you about something has been developed by myself and a team of wonderful people with a multidisciplinary approach into the super yachting industry. Just a very brief presentation of the foundation I represent here. I am the initiator and the vice chair of the Water Revolution Foundation, started within the industry and for the industry, but for the very first time a science-driven foundation into the sector. We founded the foundation last year during Metz at the SuperYacht Forum in November last year, 2018. And this specific project was launched yesterday, as I said, and it was developed during my last, I will say, 7 years. And during the last year, it was specifically dedicated to the super yachting sector as a yacht assessment tool. But let me give you some very brief background regarding the project. The project was called the Yachting 4.0. Now it's something different because it became a tool, but we will speak about that immediately after. Just saying something about the project. The very first idea was to embrace industrial ecology into the super yachting sector. And the very basic idea was to compare, as other industrial cluster already does, to develop an approach where we can use life cycle as a methodology in order to understand how could be possible to become more sustainable. I'm sorry, I'm trying to sum up in order not to bore you with too many scientific things. Otherwise, I should talk about biosphere and technosphere and how we need to link the two worlds into one, because as you probably know, we have just one planet. And we need to habitat this planet in a more sustainable way in order to use resources in an intelligent way, let's say. But we know the industry, and the material lab was talking very well about the need we have to really use in a sustainable way any kind of resources, together with the fact that money and the economic lead the way in any case. So we need to take advantage about that. And that's exactly the aim of the Yachting 4.0 project. In order to do that, we set up 4 important pillars in order to drive this, let's say, ecological revolution into the sector. First, adopting new emerging technology, and specifically the information and communication technology, the so-called ICT, is very important because you will see they give us specific approaches and specific tools to be used in an easy way in order to connect the dots and then to link the biological life of our product, that it means the raw materials we use, the energy we use, with the technological world. And what can we do with that? We can assess our ecological footprint. In this case, we can assess super yachts and the system on board. The final idea, the concrete aim of this project is to build up a concrete next practice platform. What does it mean? The claim of the SuperYacht Forum this year was, and also here at Metz, I see lots of things going on, lots of initiatives going on, is about building the next generation super yachts. If we want to build the super yachts in the near future must be more sustainable in any case. And that's what the market says, not me, that I'm a sustainability scientist. So for me, it's, of course, it's nice, but it's really the market asking more and more for that. So the very first step, adopting new technology. And we were working, as I already said, as a multidisciplinary team by using the computational sustainability. What's that strange field of science? It's a science coming, I would say, mixing different fields like IT, like computer science, with mathematics, with statistics, and specific field like naval engineer, in this case, naval design, and whatever we need in order to collect all the data we need. And by using the computational sustainability, we are able to assess and monitor and measure, before everything, the different aspects of the sustainability pillars. That is to say, society, so the social impact, the environment, the environmental impact, and the economy. Because to be really sustainable, we need to balance all these different assets we have. So, by using the computational sustainability, we were able to connect the dots and then to identify a specific tool that we can call an eco-design tool. So the product, the result of the research is the tool. An eco-design tool could be an eco-design tool. Now we need to assess, because no one knows which is the footprint of this very important and strategic niche in our industrial economy. The life cycle assessment is the scientific methodology we use, because it's the most accredited way to understand how many raw material and energy we need in order to evaluate a product from the perspective of the environmental cost. And this is the content of the, I would say, the data we need in order to feed the system. So a specific knowledge coming from the industry, that is to say the chapters, the so-called inventory. And those are all the kind of list, let's say, of material and manufacturing activities to build a yacht. And then you have the product, and you can evaluate this product from the design perspective or from the build process perspective. And the perspective you look at this data, I'm sorry, the format is not really it matched not perfectly the need of my presentation, but in any case, you can easily read the definition of LCA by the ISO. And but roughly speaking, and to sum up, it's a life cycle perspective. That is to say, taking into consideration specific boundaries of the evaluation. I do not remember. Yeah, those are, you can see very easily here which are the boundaries we can use. You can use a cradle-to-cradle approach, that is the complete approach, in order to build up a circular economy system. And that means that you evaluate the ecological footprint of any materials and any activities you need to build a boat. From the perspective of the very beginning, when you harvest your material, let's say, and then you take this, then you take into consideration the end of life of the material. Then there is the cradle to grave. And I'm sorry, into the cradle-to-cradle perspective, it's very important the concept of upcycling. That is to say that the material you are gonna scrap, it will be raw material for another industrial cycle. And this is called upcycling. When you speak about the cradle-to-grave perspective, you have the same perspective from the beginning and then till the end of life of the product. And you take the responsibility, of course, to know where it will be disposed. And then there is the cradle-to-grave, a shorter one, because probably you want to know which kind of measure you need to use in order to deliver a better yacht. Because cradle to gate means from the beginning, from the sources of the materials, to the moment until you deliver the super yacht, the yacht, or whatever you want to deliver. This is the inventory, because in order to evaluate the life cycle of your material and activities, you need to identify exactly which are the constraints of your system. So I do not want to go too much into that because it could be really too boring for you. I just want to give you an overview. But please feel free to ask whatever you want to know immediately after the presentation. Of course, this content is part of the so-called PCR, because when you want to submit, when you want to know, when you want to accreditate a specific measure, a specific ecological footprint of any product or service, you need to submit your criteria to the EPD, the Environmental Product Declaration. And this document related to any product or any service is called PCR, Product Category Rule. And we submitted the PCR for the super yachts. And it was, of course, accredited as a benchmark, let's say. So what can we do with this tool? We can assess, finally, a super yacht. That's why we call it the Yacht Assessment tool. And yesterday we were able, with all the team and with a different technical, let's say, platform, we were able to deliver also a demo. So it was much more interactive and much more, I would say, much more understandable. But let me give you a very, I'll try to sum up really in an easy way. And also here, if you want to pose questions, please feel free. Under the hood, what's behind? Let me underline that this is part of the work that specific users need to go through, because the final user will have a very easy web interface able to link the data the user is going to put into the system and the result. So it's very easy for a normal use, let's say. But what's under the hood? Let's start from here. You see here the assessment project workflow. What do you do with this tool? You have your web interface, you get the data, so you fulfill the data into a specific model, then you get the assessment form, and after that you have a final report. So it's really easy, very easy to use. But what's behind? I just want to show you that because it's the very first time that a tool like this has a real scientific core. So this is the flow model graph you have behind. Let me explain a bit. You have from the very start, you see on top, until the down, you have a start, you have an end. Each chapter represents the choices you can make about the materials, so it's about decision, of course. Just a very concrete example. I want to build the hull of the super yacht. Am I going to use steel? I'm going to use aluminium? Am I going to use both? I can make decisions. Then I need to make something with that. because I need some activities on this material. And so you can assess, you can insert also, we take into consideration also the impacts coming from the activities. And then you see the selected path. In this case, we use stainless steel, as you see, and high tensile steel. So you can deactivate the path related to the aluminum or compositum or whatever the alternatives could be. And this is exactly how it works. So you insert everything, and then the final result is a report. In this report, what we are going to see is the description of your design or your product, your SuperYacht in this case, and then the environmental impacts related to that. You may ask which kind of indicators, because when I say ecological footprint, it's a universe. You can consider whatever you want. Of course, we need to consider the main indicators, the main impact categories relevant for this sector. So mostly human health, in order to sum up a bit, otherwise could be really a bit too much for today. So, of course, global warming. It's something all the industrial clusters needs to take into consideration. And many others, such as water scarcity index. So water is another important issue. SOx, NOx, that is about the health of the ocean and the air. And so, lots of indicators. In general, we take into consideration into the tool 12 of the most important impact categories relevant for this industry. And you can see on the left side the methodology of calculation. Of course, an LCA expert could read very, very well this data. If you want to know more, please feel free to ask. So now we are we already studied lots of cases. We have a pretty wide platform of more or less more sustainable solution or product. That is to say, not only super yachts or boat in general, but also the system on board or material on board. Of course, it's not, you cannot insert everything inside, because as I used to underline, as I used to highlight, that must be a common effort. And that's why I prefer to develop this project and to deliver this tool into a foundation, because I do not think that this kind of tool could be something you can commercially deliver to the industry, because it needs a real effort coming from any companies, of course, from the shipyards, but also the entire supply chain, and also the most important stakeholders, that is to say, certification authorities or whatever. Must be a collective effort. And that's why now we are in the process to collect case studies. And so please feel free to pose questions, but also to submit any case study you want to investigate. And let's build up together the next practice platform. Thank you so much for your attention. I do not want to, as I already said, I do not want to go too in depth into the matter, because could be really something too technical. But please feel free to pose any question that could be helpful in order to understand more.